All right, welcome back. Welcome back. We have another great episode planned for you here today. Hopefully, you enjoyed last week. I know I rambled a little bit, but some of the topics were just kind of it just required a little bit of rambling, and sometimes you go off on tangents, and that's what happens. First and foremost, shout out to the Fighting Illini. Working 9 to 5. They worked their way from 9 to 5 in the rankings after a huge win against Nebraska. I've got my brand new Music City Bowl Champions sweatshirt on. Shout out to my wife for hooking me up with that. Although it's white, and I might have made a mistake in picking out that color because I think I already got some stains on it. I should know better. I can't be wearing white like that. That just can't happen. I think mostly we're just going to discuss a little bit about the Grammys. Not all of them, because I don't listen to enough popular music as far as, rock and rap and hip-hop and pop. I listen to most of the stuff I listen to outside of country is old school. Now, I do venture off, and I try to stay with the times on the latest hip hop and rap because I do enjoy that. But as far as rock, new pop, all that stuff, I don't have much of an opinion on it. I mean, I could probably find an opinion on it. I can pretty much have an opinion on anything, but I'm more well versed in the country music world. So we're going to talk a little bit of the Grammys and discuss mainly the country side of it. We'll see where else we go for today, but that's kind of the only thing I wanted to chat about in particular. So let's get going. Cheers to another great week. All right, the Grammys were the other day, and man, it just feels like the Grammys are the cool kids club, but we're all the ones that are listening to other music. Does that make any sense? It's one of those things where it feels like they're so proud of their own shit at the Grammys that they're like, let's make sure we find the most musically and lyrically talented and all these other things. And on one hand, okay, I could see that. But also, why discount so quickly what everybody else likes? And I'm not one to like follow the crowd. I know that a lot of what's out there, especially in the country music world, is hot garbage. But there's also these little pockets of great lyrical, great songwriting, great musicianship in country music. And just because some of it is more popular with the masses doesn't mean that it's not okay to give them a Grammy. Now, I will say, who gives a shit about, award shows? I know that a lot of people say that. I think most of those artists, it's like there's something in them that they can't help themselves but love to get an award for their stuff. It's like they want to say it doesn't matter to them, but in actuality, whenever it happens, they're very happy about it. It's like what comedians making fun of Saturday Night Live, but as soon as they get a chance to host, they're going to go host. Musicians, they don't really care about awards, but as soon as they get a chance to get a Grammy, and who said why is it that is the most coveted award for music, even in country music? I would think that the CMA award would be the most coveted, but there's probably some politics, and we could probably put the tinfoil hat on and go down the rabbit hole of the conspiracy theory behind it all. But let's just stay objectively, assuming there's nothing going on behind the scenes, even though there probably is. Best country solo performance. The winner was Chris Stapleton. And at first I was like, have I ever heard that song? And I listened to it right before we started, and I was like, oh, yeah, I remember that song. It's a good song. Don't get me wrong. It is a good song. That was the winner. Tyler Childers' Nose on the Grindstone. I thought he had already released that like years ago. Or am I thinking of a different song or maybe a lyric in a song? I don't know. Shabuzi's Good News. Whatever. Lainey Wilson's Somewhere Over Laredo and Zach Top's I Never Lie. Just basing it off the nominations, the songs. I mean, there's probably 10 million other songs that were better than some of these that deserved a nomination. But just basing it off the nominations, how could you argue with Zach Top's I Never Lie? It goes back to the argument at the beginning of this whole whatever's the most popular doesn't always win the Grammy, but that doesn't make it a bad song, you know? That doesn't make it a song not worthy of winning a Grammy. And tinfoil hat on again. It's a Hollywood movie that the song was made for by Chris Stapleton, and so maybe that's why it's the winner. They're all connected. But again, we're not going to go down the rabbit hole of conspiracies. We're just going to try to be on the other side and assume that those things don't happen. Yeah, I just don't see how I Never Lie isn't the biggest song in the country music genre from last year, basically. Which brings me to my next point with the best traditional country album. I personally would not have picked. I mean, of the nominations, that is the best one. I haven't listened to all of them or every song on all of them. I haven't give them the full attention. I don't have enough hours in the day. I've got 2 children, but of the nominations, I just don't see why. Ain't In It For My Health from Zach Top was just not. It wasn't as good as his first album. I think if you go back on my TikTok at Big J Linder, I did a ranking of every song on Ain't In It For My Health. Now I will say I did it on my first listen through, my first reaction, my first listen through. I listened to every single song on that album, and I ranked each one of them. Going back through it a few times over the last few months, however long it's been since I made that video, I will say there was a couple other songs on there that through the first listen, maybe I didn't quite grasp or didn't quite, I just didn't, they weren't as much of my favorite as just first listen through. And then you kind of go back and you really listen to some of the lyrics and you check out some of all that. So there is a handful of really good songs on there. But his first album, Cold Beer and Country Music, I just don't understand. I know they have to do it by year, but that was a far superior album as far as that goes. We're going to skip the contemporary country album because I have no idea. Best country duo or group performance, Miranda Lambert and Chris Stapleton, A Song to Sing. Reba, Miranda, and Lainey Wilson with Trailblazer. Margot Price and Tyler Childers with Love Me Like You Used to Do. That one had an argument for being maybe the winner. Shabuzi and Jelly Roll with Amen. George Strait, Chris Stapleton's Honky Tonk Hall of Fame. I think either way you could have gone with that one, because if you never heard that song, it's about as country as it gets. And between those two, they just, for some reason, they just work together. It's like George Strait has this smooth, old, leathery, kind of, I don't really care if you want to listen to my song kind of type voice whenever he sings. And then Chris Stapleton's got this, rah, 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 like all over, just right in your face power sort of thing. But he's got the blues and the soul that kind of mixes through it. So those two together on that song is absolutely fantastic. I probably blew out some ears and made some bleed with that rendition of my Chris Stapleton impression. But the song by Reba, Miranda, and Lainey Wilson, Reba McEntire, Miranda Lambert, Lainey Wilson, Trailblazer, they played that, I think it was at the CMAs or the ACMs, and it's perfect because whether you like Miranda Lambert, whether you like Lainey Wilson, whether you like any of them, those three are kind of the generational leaders in country music. I mean, you can make an argument that maybe Carrie Underwood over Miranda Lambert, but Miranda Lambert was right there, right there next to her, which is funny. I'm pretty sure Miranda Lambert doesn't have any solo number ones, which is crazy. But so Reba is kind of still, Reba and Dolly would be considered kind of the the original generation, or the ones that the rest of them are either, you know, dead or too old or whatever. So then you got her, and then you got Miranda or Carrie. That could have been kind of, that's the ones that we grew up with. We kind of grew up with Reba. It was passed on to us, and then Miranda and Carrie were our, you know, female leads in country music. And now Lainey Wilson is kind of the next one. Ella Langley is making a strong case to be the other one, but Lainey Wilson is just massive right now. So that one I could have seen easily being the winner. And shout out to Miranda Lambert, double nominated in the same category. It's a shame. You got two chances to win, and you still didn't win. But yeah, Shabuzi and Jelly Roll won. But I don't know. I mean, George Strait, Chris Stapleton, Honky Tonk Hall of Fame. If you never heard that one, it's about as good as it gets. Best country song. I mean, it makes sense. Bitin' List by Tyler Childers. That is one that goes against what the Grammys tries to be from my perspective. They want to be the cool kids club that only gives the Grammys to, you know, the ones that have this, that, and the other, and, you know, they want to be the secretive. That kind of shit drives me up a wall. Whenever people act like what's popular with everybody is garbage. And it's like, well, that's not always the case. There's a reason that it's popular with everybody. It's good. Maybe you don't necessarily like it, or maybe you're just letting hate cloud your judgment and you're just not enjoying life. Find a little inner peace in yourself and look at every single day and every single obstacle as a positive or a learning experience instead of something negative, and you might enjoy some of this other music that's out there. That's all I'm saying. But that is one that is kind of the other way. It's one that's super popular. I mean, it was on TikTok. Every other video, when you'd scroll through TikTok, everybody was making a Bitin' List edit, a Bitin' List video. So I don't see why not. Although I Never Lie that could have easily been the other winner. That was probably, I don't know if they count the votes, like number one, number two, but I mean, they obviously have to. But that one could have easily been the best country song. So I think you could have, if it's me, if I'm picking from these nominations, I think I would have gone, I probably would have felt like I had to give I Never Lie the best country song, because in the other categories where Zach Top is nominated, no, that's what I would have done. I probably would have given the best country solo performance to I Never Lie. And then, because Zach Top was not the only writer, I think there's like 3 or 4 writers on that song. So I probably would have gone, best country solo performance, I Never Lie. The album, I don't know. I mean, there's probably a better one. I know there's a better one. Anything Luke Combs has put out. I guess he hadn't put out a new album recently. And then the duo would have gone to George Strait, Chris Stapleton, Honky Tonk Hall of Fame. And then I probably would have, because the best country song is actually awarded to songwriters. I don't know if I said that. It's awarded to the songwriters of the particular song. And Bitin' List was written by Tyler Childers, so that would have been mine. But Zach Top deserved some sort of recognition, so I probably would have given him the best country solo performance, because the guy is Merle Haggard reincarnated. I mean, he plays lead guitar for his own friggin' band, and he's actually really good at it. So you kind of got to, anything he does solo-wise or anything he does that shows off his abilities is, pretty impressive. And honestly, the rest of the country categories, I don't know if I really have an opinion on, because I don't listen to it enough. So I'm not going to sit here and act like I do. Going through some of the other stuff that I've seen when it comes to Grammy nights regarding, the country side of things and what they're doing. I just find it very interesting, because I was sitting here thinking, when I was looking at some of the nominations, about other artists in country music, other bands, other groups that have been there through the years, and I was like, I wonder if some of these big names have never won a Grammy. And you know who hasn't won a Grammy? This will prove my argument right here. The fact that the Grammys is just a cool kids club for everyone who's not in the masses and enjoys what's popular. I think if that makes sense. It's like you're not cool if you don't like the music that we nominate for the Grammys, and we don't like anything that is commercially successful. So it's like, while I don't want to necessarily give all the attention to commercial success and, what is already popular, you kind of can't ignore it. So I don't understand why we have to hate on it so much. Or maybe it's just them thinking that they're trying to give shine to the ones that don't give shine, because each genre has their own award show. Country music has two, probably more than that, but I know they have two big ones, CMA, ACM. So maybe they're just trying to go that way. But you can't, regardless of what they think they're trying to do, you cannot tell me that Luke Bryan has never written or recorded or performed a song that isn't at least Grammy nominated worthy. Drink a Beer, maybe, or any other. I'm trying to think of some of his number ones, but now Drink a Beer was written by Chris Stapleton. I don't know if it won a songwriter award, but I would think that Luke Bryan would be nominated even if he wrote it. He would be involved because he, recorded the song, but he's never even been nominated. Florida Georgia Line has been nominated once. They had literally the largest country album maybe ever. Maybe the most popular country album ever, from top to bottom, with Here's to the Good Times. And you're telling me they've only been nominated once and never won? This is my problem with the Grammys. Right here. Morgan Wallen, nominated twice. He's the country Drake, for God's sakes. Keith Whitley, 3-time nominated, never won. Rascal Flatts, 4-time nominated, never won. Jason Aldean, since 2000, other than Toby Keith, I don't know if there's been a bigger name. Luke Bryan, Jason Aldean, Florida Georgia Line. Those are the big ones. Here's the two that get me. Speaking of Toby Keith. Toby Keith and Kenny Chesney are a combined 0-13 at the Grammys. I almost want to stop talking about this, or I almost want to make it my life's mission to talk about this every day until we give, what is that, posthumously, posthumanly, I don't know, give Toby Keith a Grammy for everything he did through the 90s and the early 2000s for country music. I mean, it just doesn't get any better. Have you ever heard the song My List? Yeah, he's got a few of those that are like Who's Your Daddy? Red Solo Cup. But, I mean, we can all have clunkers every once in a while. But he's got so many others, that are, it's just, and Kenny Chesney, the biggest touring artist next to maybe Garth Brooks in country music. Blake Shelton is 0 for 8. He's the face next to Luke Bryan that Hollywood puts out on all their shows. So you're telling me that he doesn't have something that he's performed? It's just astonishing. Mine would be you. Mine would be you. Oh. Luke Combs. The guy has never not had a number one. Every single he's put out has gone to number one. And whether you give a shit about number ones or not, the fact that he is 0-8 at the Grammys I just have a hard time. I just have a hard time believing something is. I have a hard time believing that you're giving an award to the best of the best in a genre whenever Eric Church is 0-11 at the Grammys. Is there nobody that listens to country music at the Grammys? Do they not have a designated group of people? Have they ever listened to the album Sinners Like Me? Yeah. So I just have a hard time with that. And there's a bunch of others, but I think that's where you end it. The fact that you 0-11 for the Chief. And yeah, he comes off as a little bit pretentious sometimes. He kind of an asshole, and that's fine. All those artists and creative types can be that way a little bit. But you can't argue with what he's put out there over the years. I mean, he's as good as it gets. So anyway, that's the talk on the Grammys. The cool kids club who doesn't like anything cool. But what they like is cool. But we're stupid. We don't listen to enough music. And we don't. You don't listen to music. You just hear music. Or you can say it the other way, I guess. You just listen to music. You don't hear music. Which I do think there's some truth to that. I think a lot of people just listen to the noise and they don't really hear what they're listening to. They don't listen for the lyrics. And I've tried to do a much better job of that over the last few years because there's been so many songs that have come out and you listen to some of the lyrics and it changes how you enjoy that song. Some of the best parts of a song come at the bridge of a song, and the bridge typically comes towards the end of a song. And our attention spans are so low and they're so short that nobody makes it to the bridge half the time. But the bridge can sometimes be the best part of the song, and again, it's usually at the end. So you're just listening to music, you're not hearing it. And I don't know what the Grammys has been doing over the years. 0-13 for Eric Church. What did I say Toby Keith was? 0-7. Him and Kenny Chesney are 0-13. And that's all I have to say about that. And I think that's how we're going to end it. We're not going to ramble on too much. We're going to stick with one topic for today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let us know if there's anything else you want to talk about. I am working on some guests for the next few podcasts. I've been pretty busy here lately with the new job and things like that. So I'm just trying to take care of that. If you are in the Salem, Illinois area and you have no plans for Super Bowl, or if you have plans for Super Bowl, cancel them and come on out to what is currently called the Salem Poorhouse. Doing some work with them and helping them out. And there's going to be a little bit of a name change, new name, new identity coming up pre-Super Bowl. And then we're going to celebrate and watch the game on the new surround sound on the 85-inch TV and give away free food. So if you're around the Salem, Illinois area and you have no plans for Super Bowl, I just made them for you. If you have plans for Super Bowl, cancel them, and I will see you at the bar. We open at 3 o'clock. So we'll see you there. See you next week. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hit us up at Big Jake Linder on everything. Cheers.